off is going to be with Ben Murray. Ben, welcome.
Thanks, Armando. Great to be here. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening.
We are excited to have you. I'll leave it up to you. The
All
stage is
right.
yours.
All right. Sounds good. Well, thanks, everyone, for joining today. Great to be here live, calling in from Denver, Colorado, and going to talk a little finance, go to market KPIs. First, a little bit about myself. I'm a SaaS CFO by trade, of course, came up through the finance and accounting ranks. I founded the SaaSCFO.com about 7 years ago to share as much knowledge as I can about SaaS metrics, SaaS finance, SaaS accounting. An interesting fact, I worked as a mainframe programmer, if you can believe it, programming in the COBOL language before I went to grad school. So little programming experience, even though I'm a CFO. So let me advance the slides here. Yeah, it looks like everything is working. So talking about KPIs, go to market motion, sales and marketing efficiency, of course, that is a hot topic in 2023 as we're focusing on efficiency. It's growth at all costs. That's over. Now we're looking at cash runways, sustainability, the economics of our business model. And the SaaS 1.0 days were those basic subscriptions, basic pricing, and we just offered subscription revenue. And the traditional SaaS metrics were created from that, where we just were offering $50 a month or $12,000 a year. And we created some interesting metrics to manage our SaaS businesses back in those days. And now, we're on, and just to make a point here, SaaS, I don't know, 3.0 pricing, 4.0, 5.0. Maybe we'll just go with 5.0 based on my next point. But now, modern SaaS companies are offering up to 5 different unique revenue streams. And I've had clients who have had subscription, who've had usage revenue, consumption revenue, processing revenue, even hardware revenue because they're a point of sale system. So now that creates challenges to understand our go to market motion, those resulting sales and marketing efficiency metrics. And, I talk about this all the time in my metrics course with my founders that our traditional SaaS go to market KPIs or sales and marketing efficiency metrics will mislead you if you do not adopt them to your revenue model. So we have to think about our revenue streams sitting on our P&L. Do we offer subscription? Do we offer usage, consumption, etc., transaction revenue? And how are those going to impact our go-to-market motion and our sales and marketing efficiency metrics? So I'll roll through to the next slide here. So one, as a CFO, I spent so much time, probably the number one and two department that I spent time with as a CFO is the sales and marketing teams. Of course, talking to all those departments within our SaaS companies, but so much going on in sales and marketing. A lot of investment there. We're investing in that go to market motion. And on the other side, hopefully, we're producing some recurring revenue in the form of subscriptions, usage, consumption, etc. So finance and go-to-market teams must collaborate to understand the economics of their inbound and outbound motion. Now we've got, now that the old outbound sales motion, SLG, now we've got PLG, product-led growth. Are we a mix? Are we inbound or outbound? So that's important for your finance team to understand so they can coordinate those metrics around our go-to-market motion. So there's got to be a lot of collaboration with finance and our sales and marketing teams. And really, in 2023, it's not just the CFO's job anymore. We know that cautious growth is the 2023 mantra or motto now. And I even see in my courses where I'm teaching SaaS metrics, and now I have product management in there. I have chief revenue officers in there. I have other sales and marketing roles or product roles where they understand that now they need to understand some of those high level metrics that are used to manage their SaaS businesses and also really to value their SaaS businesses. So a couple things that we have to look at if we're on the sales and marketing team right now, or if we're on the finance team right now, one is CAC to LTV. Because LTV has to be adjusted if we have multiple revenue streams. So for example, if we're offering subscription revenue, we know what we signed that customer up at. But what if we have some form of variable revenue? We have to estimate now the variable revenue that we're going to receive from that customer. And of course, it's just an estimate, but that impacts CAC to LTV, for example, impacts the LTV calculation. And in self-service SaaS businesses, CAC to LTV is so important. Next is CAC payback period, one of my favorite metrics. And again, this is the number of months it takes to pay back that upfront customer acquisition cost. And how are we paying back that CAC? We're paying it back through the subscription revenue that we landed. But what if, again, if we have variable revenue, we can't just forget these other major revenue streams that are going towards that CAC payoff. So again, modifying these metrics, because if you just calculate these metrics based on your standard subscription revenue, they're going to be way off. They're going to look horrible. I've done that for SaaS companies. It's like, whoa, we've got to take a step back and look at our revenue streams and how it impacts our metrics. And of course, if we have some early stage founders in the audience, early stage sales and marketing, maybe we're just looking at our overall sales and marketing metrics. But as we scale, say we get to 10 million ARR, 50 billion, 100 million, now we've got to take that a step further. We've got to segment our metrics. Maybe we have to look at CAC payback by customer acquisition channel. Maybe we have to look at it by ICP, or ideal customer profile. Or maybe we're big enough, we have to look at it based on our North American geography, our European geography. So how are we managing our business? And that ultimately dictates how finance needs to set up the data structure and set up those segmented metrics. So key takeaway here, you can't measure you can't improve what you don't measure. Your CFO is probably telling you this, or this is really from Peter Drucker, but we've got to put these metrics in place. So if we think about some of the common metrics for our go-to-market motion, CAC to LTV, CAC payback period, then segmented metric, cost of ARR, the SaaS CAC ratio. We can't, sometimes CFO, we try to make the data perfect. We try to make perfect calculations, but the point is just to get started. Start calculating these metrics if you're not already, and then iterate on those. Just like we iterate on our lead process, our close one process, we're constantly iterating on metrics, and maybe they're not perfect, but we've just got to start somewhere so we can understand our cash runways. How much are we investing in sales and marketing? If we invest $1 in sales and marketing, are we getting $1 out in recurring revenue, for example? So again, you can't improve what you don't measure. So start putting these metrics in place, and then think about your different revenue streams, work with your finance team, and see how you need to collaborate your metrics in order to make these accurate and not misleading. Because if you have many revenue streams and you're just calculating your SaaS metrics off of subscription revenue, they're going to be way off. You cannot use those, and they'll just show really, really bad numbers.
Ben.
Yes.
Good.
Oh, and last slide. And I've got a Finance 101 for SaaS course. So if you want to learn more about SaaS metrics, SaaS finance, follow that URL, use that promo code Hot Takes for 100% off, absolutely free. I've got tons of founders in there. So a free SaaS Finance 101 course for you.
First of all, thank you so much. Very much appreciate that as well. I love this. And what I particularly love about your session, like the audience for this event is essentially go-to-market operators, right? At mid to early stage companies. And this is like, for the audience, this is exactly the type of conversation that's going on at a C-level. And so like this session with Ben is kind of like peeking a little bit into, that type of conversations, like behind that curtain, right? And it's really true, I think, particularly this year, but like moving forward, there is a renewed attention toward not only growth, but also efficient growth, back to your point. Right? So the fact that, yes, we need to grow. This growth needs to come from somewhere, and we need to be able to measure that and execute on that. But also there is a cost to this growth. And not only there is a relationship between how much are we spending and how much are we making, but also there is a relationship, like it's important to know how much time is elapsed between the two, because that will potentially create a cash flow issue or potentially a cash flow flywheel.
Exactly. And that's getting into advanced, definitely SaaS topics of, if we're investing a lot in our sales and marketing motion and we have long payback periods, that capital is tied up We
Right.
can't reinvest that elsewhere, and we need even more cash to continue to grow at those current growth rates.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. And like one thing I was curious to double click on is this idea that you were introducing about like pricing models, business models,
Mhm,
1.0, 2.0, 3.0, when it comes to SaaS.
mhm.
Can we unpack that a second? Like, what is this? And in the meantime, if there are questions that the audience is excited to hear more about, like, feel free to write them in the uh, messaging system, and we'll share them, of course.
Yeah, yeah, happy to take any questions. But Armando, you're right. Some of my more popular posts are the ones just explaining the SaaS revenue streams. I mean, it's really rare now to see a SaaS company that just has subscription revenue.
Right.
It's very common if you're early stage, right? One product, one go-to-market motion, and that's it. But then you're expanding your product line. But
Right.
now, right, setting that up and also to value your SaaS company is
Right.
based on those revenue streams. So we can't just have one category that lumps up all revenue together because there's so much information those revenue streams tell us. We have to understand margins by revenue stream. Are they
Right.
contributing to our business?
Right.
And it just impacts how we manage our business.
Right. Like if you're spending more money than you're making for a certain cohort of customers or geographies or products, that's something that you should talk about.
Yeah, especially for 2023, it's really getting back to those basics of fundamental financial management
Right.
and what are our gross margins? What revenue streams are contributing or not contributing to our profitability? And then do we have a cost structure issue? Do we have a pricing issue?
Right.
And then we can zero in on those things that may be working or not
And
working.
so when you say like 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, essentially you're talking about pricing structures that become more complicated and have multiple dimensions.
Yes, pricing structures that are evolving that then result, if we look at our P&L, that look,
Right.
all right, we've got subscription. Now we offered a usage component on top of this. So those pricing models and how they evolve then result in those revenue streams on our P&L.
Right. It could be essentially back to what you were saying. If you have a variable component based on usage or based on seats,
Yep.
right? Or based on like there is an hardware component as an example, or there is any like a econ marketplace
Mhm.
component, all those things need to be treated in different way.
Oh, absolutely. I've one SaaS company that I work with that has traditional subscription revenue. It's has some processing revenue and also some marketplace revenue, right?
Mhm.
Three distinct revenue streams and how we manage those, how we
Right.
forecast those. And a lot of those variable revenue streams are 100% gross margin,
Right.
so we just have to set that up correctly.
Right, right. Another example that comes to mind is if you have a pro serve layer, right? So if you have some kind of professional services onboarding,
Mhm.
revenue type of thing, those behave differently and should be accounted for differently compared to pure subscription revenue.
Yeah, I came from companies that had PS component, and I treat those almost like their own business unit. So we have
Right,
professional services revenue, we have that services expense, we have backlog, we have utilization, we have margins on our services revenue,
right,
and it's almost like it's little machine within that SaaS company. So services component also really important within our structure.
right, right. Yeah, absolutely. Hear you on that. Well, there you have it. A little sneak peek inside the mind of the CFO. Thanks for watching, everyone. Let them know how their session was with the quick survey that you see here in the chat. Ben, this was awesome. Appreciate that.
All right, thanks a lot, Armando. Really appreciate it. Thanks, guys.